Check one, two, check one, two. Hopefully you guys can hear us okay. I'm gonna check my phone to make sure my volume is all right. Trying some new things tonight. Um, okay, so you can hear me. All right. So welcome to Circle Talk. This is the first Circle Talk of 2022. So happy New Year to all of you. Hopefully you guys had a wonderful evening last night and are starting your years on a positive. As y'all can see, I'm not by myself today. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the people.
My name is Erin. Circle Talk, circle, circle back, do it all.
Yes, so
Behind the scenes.
Erin has been involved in the circle pretty much since the very beginning, and like she said, she's been doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes, and I'm excited to have her be a part of our first one for the year, and there's going to be plenty more, I'm sure, to come. But before we get into anything else, we want to first off just give a prayer out to anyone out there that's kind of going through some trying times. There was a lot of things that happened to people in 2021, a lot of lives that were lost in that year. So we just want to have a quick moment of silence just for those people that have lost someone close to them. We want to start this on a positive, but we want to remember those people at the same time. So just a quick moment. Yes, yes. It's always good to make sure that we remember those that came before us, and at least give them their due diligence and remembering the what they left behind. The positive things that they left behind inside of all of us. So I just wanted to make sure that we did that before we move forward into the year. But last night, we're going to talk about last night. It was the GSL all the way live New Year's Eve celebration, an amazing event, and I'm really excited to jump into it. But before we do, let's give a huge shout out to our sponsors, iShotya.com. If you guys are in the area looking for somebody to do your pictures, make sure you hit up my guy Marvin Patterson. Also, I want to give a huge shout out to him for allowing me to be a part of the media for the event yesterday. If it wasn't for him, Dion Lister and Sean Willis, I wouldn't have been involved in that. So thank you guys so much for the opportunity, and I'm excited for more work to come moving forward. Also, want to give a huge shout out to my guy Icon ENT, Mr. Willie Jr. Thomas, for always having my back. He called me this morning to wish me a happy New Year. We had a great conversation. I'm really excited for what's to come this year with us. Last but not least, the Chaya movement. My girl Zakia, thank you so much for always supporting me, having my back, and continue to allow me to be a part of anything that you have going on, and us bumping heads and realizing that we have something together when we work together as a unit and not separately. So I'm really excited for all of those people and what they're doing in the community and what we're going to accomplish here in 2021. Or 2022, sorry about that. Before we get into 2022, first off, I just want to let everybody know Kareem could not make it today. Obviously, like I said in my post earlier, he had some things that went down with his family. I'm not trying to get in too deep on the detailed information. Just know that he has a lot of things that are transpiring within his family at home, and he needed to take a moment away to take care of that, and then we're going to get back together and talk about his life and the things that he has been doing within his life. Great dude, done a lot of things inside of the community, outside of the community with him. So we are going to make sure that happens for anybody that has been anticipating his interview. So without further ado, let's jump into it. I'm going to allow her to give her take on the event first, and then I'll jump in and give my insight. So why don't you go ahead and tell the people what you thought about what happened last night.
Um, I liked it. It was grown and sexy. It was a affair for adults who were trying to go out and have a good time around like-minded people. There's a lot of forward movement, affirmative action kind of taking place there with the artistry, and there's different artists were amazing. The performers, the singers were incredible. The comedian was incredible. It was a good lineup of well known and not so well known artists and entertainment. Um, the venue itself was beautiful. It was downtown the new Marriott in one of their banquet rooms. It was stunning, absolutely stunning. Red carpet. It was they did the whole night. They really they took it home. I thought.
Yeah. Someone said they couldn't hear you. So moving forward, hopefully you guys can hear still. If you can, give us a thumbs up. If not, we'll try to up our volume just a little bit. We are using a mic in front of us. We're doing things a little different this time. Just trying to upgrade our setup, and hopefully you guys can hear us now. But let me give my take on Grown Sexy Lit all the way live. To me, when you think about Tacoma, a lot of the things that you think about is there's a lot of small clubs. Like you see a lot of like the McCabe's and the spots. No, I'm saying McCabe's, the spot. Y'all know what I'm talking about. All these little Jillian's, like the loft, like places that came and had their time and then they disappeared. Now, what do we see? We see a lot of stand-up comedy places. Like Tacoma Comedy Club is lit. We see Nate Jackson's Comedy Club is lit. These are the things that are kind of taking the helm over actual clubs. And obviously there's those little small spots that are further out. But to go and be involved in something like this, it's not something that you see a lot of in Tacoma. Like you don't see a lot of lit locations where people are written out full like spots to have events that are just major events, not small stuff. This was a major event in my eyes. I've been to a lot of things. I obviously, as y'all know, I used to do music, so I've been involved in a lot of shows and a lot of venues and things of that nature. But as far as thinking about New Year's Eve and events that I've done, they've always been little small spots, nothing really major. So for me,
a lot of big party promoters.
There's not in Tacoma. Like you'll see a lot more in Seattle, not in Tacoma. And so for this event, like I was really impressed by the way that it was set up. The people involved, a lot of amazing people got together to create this platform for everyone to shine, not just the artists that were on stage and people that were already known in the area, but they had a few people that I never heard of that got up on stage and shared their voices. They had artists outside, spoken word. You had artistry even in the side area where people were promoting. Like the pictures were absolutely phenomenal. Shout out to her. Like her stuff was amazing. But that's what it's all about. It's all about lifting up your community and trying to create something that has not been created before. And so I just want to first move forward and just give a shout out to everybody that was involved in this event from top to bottom. Deshaun Willis, thank you so much, brother. We've been connecting for a long while, not just in this platform, but music, and also we did some media stuff as well before then. So Deshaun Willis, thank you so much for this opportunity. Dion Lister, I've known this brother for a long time. We played ball back in the day. Great guy. I love his maturity and the growth that he is. He's very, 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 very well groomed fella. Came a long way from the hilltop to now. He's doing really well. So shout out to you, brother, for doing an amazing job with this event. Mike Brown, shout out to Mike Brown. Thank you so much for allowing us to come in and share our knowledge and insight on GSL. Brooklyn Bannister, PJ Hughes, obviously iShotcha.com was in the building. He played a huge part in making sure that I was able to be a part of this event. We were to be a part of this event. The circle was a part of this event. So thank you so much, Marvin, for putting my name in the pot and saying, hey, my guy, he's lit. Let him come out and do his job. And so thank you, Marvin. Uh, our guest speaker for the night, Timmy Foster, Dr. Timmy Foster, was in the building. She, she don't need no real acknowledgement of who she is. She's Dr. Timmy Foster, and then also Dr. John Gaines for Push for Dreams. Amazing guy, known him for a very long time. I can go on and on about this young man, but he has only just begun his journey into becoming something. Yeah, great. Dr. John Gaines, we will connect again. We actually did an interview with him last year, and we was talking yesterday. He was like, "Bro, I need to get back on Circle Talk again." I was like, "Man, whenever you're ready, we're gonna make it happen." So shout out to Dr. John Gaines for continuing to push forward and rise above all of the things that he went through in life. So yeah, such a great list of people that created this event, and y'all only got little pieces last night of what we experienced. The comedy was great. The talent level of the performers was top notch. But at the end of the day, a majority of the people that you've seen in there was all Tacoma. Like, and that's the one thing that I know when I walked in there. It's like I know this person, I know that person, I know that person. It was home. It was homegrown, and regardless of the numbers and all of the extra under and over levels of this event, I was extremely impressed, and I think it's the start of something amazing moving forward for not only GSL but for Push for Dreams and iShotYou.com as well as the Circle Talk. So amazing event. So what I wanted to do, if anybody out there has anything that they would like to talk about when it comes to 2021 versus 2022, we're going to jump into that a little bit. I'm going to ask Aaron a couple questions, and I may answer them as well. But what is one thing, when you think about 2021, that you're going to miss? Is there anything that you can think of that you're going to miss about 2021?
It's been I mean, I don't know, nothing really profound took place for me that is like, was a catalyst or anything. Nothing really detrimental happened that would cause me to really dislike 2021. I mean, my son and I have had a lot of growth this year, and which is something that has been definitely just a work in progress for him and I to overcome some of the hardships that we face together. And so it's been a good year, really, for me. I mean, I don't think there's anything I've missed except for, any financial hardships maybe me. But, I mean, that's just, an ebb and flow of life. So, no, I can't really say. Well, I guess maybe, I don't know. I did help some people this year that were really, which is, I think, the nature of who we should be, is being philanthropic in our daily lives. But it, take advantage. So I won't miss that. So there's definitely some misgivings and misappropriated statistics that I probably should have put up some time back. But I mean, you live and you learn, and I think that no matter what, like whatever I was giving was needed more than I needed. So you know what I mean. So I guess hopefully that the people are. Most people are better for it. So I wouldn't say I would have to leave behind, because there's always growth in everything. There's possibility. So, yeah.
Interesting. I think for me, 2021, I think I'm just going to miss writing. Because, every time you move into the new year and you got to fill out paperwork every single day, it's always an issue. because you always think you're still in 2021, but you're, wait a minute, you filled this out wrong. It's not 2021 anymore, it's 2022.
Those days
So,
ago.
I mean, as far as life goes, I do a lot of paperwork and everything has to be spot on. So, for me, I think that's really the only thing that I'm going to miss about 2021. Everything that happened, it happened for a reason. I learned from my mistakes. I grew from the things that helped me become a better version of myself. And I try to remember that every day is a new opportunity, regardless of what year it is, to be better than you were the day before. So 2021 was great, but I know greater things are on the way, and so I always keep that mind frame moving forward. So, what are you excited to get involved in when you think about this year? What is something that you're really excited to be involved in? Like,
Well, shoot, I don't know. I've been working on my own little baby brainchild for some time. I'm just kind of writing and rewriting a business plan for a couple of things that I've really been passionate about and want to take hold on. And so I think that I think I'm at a place where I want that to come to fruition. So, just seeing if I can accomplish the goals that I've set out for myself, or if I could definitely looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to the struggles as well as the achievements. And there's definitely growth and learning and new, and every time you fall down, So, but I've been definitely this last year. I've really kind of stayed inside the shell, kept quiet and about move in silence, I guess. But I have been working on quite a bit. Quite a few things, like really like brainstorming, manifesting, and studying, being a student of things I'm trying to accomplish. And so I think that's definitely things are going to come to fruition, and I'm really excited about it.
that's cool. For me, I think what I'm excited about moving into this year is just, um, creating a larger platform than I'm at today. Like, I think last year there was a lot of, obviously ups and downs when it came to just trying to create something for the people, and actually seeing that the people accept it and are a part of the ride. I think a lot of the ups and downs of that journey has gotten me to a place where I feel really confident that this year there's nothing but growth along the way. After my last circle talk last year, and the amount of support that I was given, and that we were given as a whole, the circle as a whole, it just made me really confirm that I'm in the right place and I should be doing this. Because there's always those people out there that are trying to bring you down, or are gonna ride with you.
More than they're trying to let you
They're gonna ride with you, but then when they finally separate from you, they're gonna talk down about you and take from you, just take and take and take. So for me, like, I'm excited to, get all of those veils off of people that are all about the negativity, and continue to move forward. I think it's an amazing opportunity. Right down the road. Every time I get an opportunity to do this, every time we get an opportunity to reach out to somebody that's doing amazing work, not only in our community but in communities all around the country, all across the world, we're doing the right thing. I feel like I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. So I'm just excited to continue on this journey and see where it takes us. Not just circle talk, but everything. Getting out there and working in the communities, helping the homeless, helping kids, anything. Doing One Loves all around the world. That's my passion. If y'all didn't know it already, that's my passion. I love music, and so creating a platform with musicians from all over the world to share their hearts and their thoughts on what it means to support each other. That is a passion of mine that is undeniable, and I don't really push it as much as I do everything else. It's like it's in the back burner, but every once in a while y'all see me jump into it. Like
When it happens, though, it happens big.
it's always a major thing, and I'm really excited for that. Yeah, I'm excited just for this growth of the circle and the things that are going to uh, transform.
We ain't
this year.
done yet.
Yeah, there's a lot of great things that are coming forth. So, what is something that that you would say? Um, well, you already said you're not really going to miss anything about 2021. What is something that you know you want to work on this year that um, you failed miserably in last year?
Punctuality. I mean,
Just saying. I
just
mean,
setting it up.
we all have them, so let's talk about it.
I'm not
Let's
punctual.
talk
I'm
about it.
punctual even a little bit. So
Let's talk
punctuality,
about it.
being a little more punctual, being more using my time more honestly. It wasn't a reason or complicated. That's something I created an issue with it. It was something I definitely need to work on to counsel myself and use the counsel of others and hopefully overcome it.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily just a negligent thing. There's extenuating circumstances that have created such issue, but I think that I've allowed it to make it lackluster and not nurture the things that need to be nurtured as much as I should have to overcome and cure the issues that I have.
Absolutely. Timeliness is a huge one. And I'm not gonna pretend like I'm always on time either. I've had my timely issues. I still do. I mean, even though I'm a boss at work, I still be late sometimes. And I sneak in and act like I'm all good when I shouldn't, because that shows the people that working underneath me that it's okay to show up late and get away with it. When in all actuality, that's not cool. That's not how I should be operating. So yes, that's a huge one. But I think for me, one of the things that I really, really want to lead in 2021 and not continue doing is just being more comfortable in my own skin, being okay with not knowing all the right answers, not being the best at everything that I do. Because sometimes I beat up on myself so much about something so little, and really, it's not necessary. Sometimes we all fall down, we all stumble, but even in this thing called relationships, like I stumble a lot. I've never been good at them, and every day I'm learning to be better. Even though it's a struggle, every day I'm learning. And the reason why I bring this one up so much is because I had a great conversation with my brother today, my older brother, and we just went to town talking for a full hour just about our relationship and a lot of the things that we went through coming up, and how we have distanced ourselves from each other, even though we were all we had coming up. And so having this conversation with my brother was such an amazing thing for the beginning of this year, and knowing that I want our relationship to be better than it was last year, because we both were naive and not in each other's minds, even in each other's hearts, in each other's phones, calling each other up. Like we were like so separate. When in my life, my older brother is the person that took care of me when I didn't have this, when I didn't have that. Like we had a great story that we were talking about when we were kids. My brother, we didn't have a lot of things, and we lived on a hilltop. So one of the things that we used to do all the time was steal. My mom, she used to get stuff from the Salvation Army to make, the big blocks of cheese, the whole nine. But we didn't always want that. So my brother taught me and my younger brother to go stealing. So that was something that we used to do all the time. And one time we had went to Safeway on 11th and M. Now everybody knows, if you're on the hilltop, you know that Safeway is one of the most ghettoest Safeways around.
It was good.
But we went in there, and we used to steal from the Safeway all the time. And there was this one time, we had walked out. It was me, my younger brother Jace, and then my oldest brother Brian, and we had ran out the Safeway, and there was a cop that came out after us. He was like, "Stop!" And my oldest brother, and Jace kept running, and he was like, "Stop, or I'll shoot." And I froze. I froze. They kept running. I got in trouble. I got taken back in the store, and then I got a whooping when I got home. They didn't get in trouble because I didn't rat them out or anything, but I did. And for me, like, my brother's always been my top dog. Like, I knew if I could count on anybody, I knew I could count on him. When I didn't have anybody for me for all the shows that I was doing in school, or the performances for choir, or even after I graduated and I was doing my own thing, my brother was always there. And so for us to be at a place in 2021 where we're not connecting, it really was really weird. But I knew when we had this conversation today that it was definitely necessary, and the man was kind of speaking, because truth be told, I had just got off the phone with my daughter, right? I got off the phone with Jace, actually. I was on the phone with my other brother, and I hung up with him, and I didn't even try to call. No, I was talking to Shay. That's right. I was talking to my daughter. I was talking to my daughter Chantel, and I had hung up the phone with her, and I went to set the phone down, and then I heard it ringing, and I looked at the phone, and I was dialing Brian's number. And so I was like, it's a sign. It was a complete accident, but it was an amazing conversation, a well-needed conversation, and I feel so much better about our journey and where we're going because of that conversation.
It was a pleasure to listen to. My eyes got a little welly a couple times, so I was like, that was really necessary. It was really a beautiful conversation.
Yep.
There was a lot of growth in there, a lot of reproduce friendship and growth.
Brotherhood. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And so for me, like, that's something that I want to focus on. Just building my bonds back with not only my brothers, my mom and my dad, and friends that were really close to me. There's a couple of them out there still, but there's some people that have really had an effect on my life that I really want to connect with. So that's kind of my moving forward into 2022. I want to be more about each other, building my circle up and not separating those that have been a part of it. Unless they're diseases and germs, then yes, I'm gonna get rid of the germs. Get rid of the germs and bring back in the ones that need to be in. So real quick before we move on, I'm gonna read a couple comments. We got a few comments, so let me go ahead and read them. John said, through all of the division over the last couple of years, I believe we found some shared values. Through those discussions and frustrations, we were forced to talk about racism and find where exactly we stand. That is one example of a topic we typically avoid with people outside of our circle. Good point. Do you want to touch on that?
Yeah, I guess it's true. There's a lot of truth in that. That's a transcendent comment. Like, it really does speak. This year speaks volumes to the silence was broken in a lot of ways. Like, there's some really unfortunate and devastating things had to happen for it to take place. However, I think that it got the conversation started in every corner of this great nation that we live in, and in ways that I don't think would have ever been. People started having conversations that they never would have had conversations before,
Yep.
and it became less hush hush, and people were less afraid to speak about race, and around myself being white, people that are white were afraid to speak on race, and around people that were black. People that were black were afraid to speak around people that were white. It's just this very hush hush topic, and it never should be, because it's heavy. There's centuries of oppression that need to be spoken on, that need to be brought to light, that people need to be made aware of just how ugly it has been, even up until this year. Like it was really a silent killer. So I mean, there's so many people that, because of racism, because of the insecure unknown, the people don't interact. Like of different races, they don't interact. You could make friends that you would never have made before after this year because the conversation was started. Sit next to somebody at at a bar or at a coffee shop that you maybe never would have had a conversation before because of intimidation.
Yeah.
Because you were worried that the race factor might have become an issue, which is just absolutely absurd. But it's true. So very much so. I think that's there was a lot of learning. There's a lot of growth, a lot of learning, a lot of misunderstandings, misgivings. I think were corrected.
And I think, and John, you're absolutely correct. I love your comment. That's a great comment. But even looking back at 2021, I think it goes even further back than that. Even when you think about 2020 and the things that happened in 2020, as far as the police brutality, obviously, that's really where this whole transition of talk. Let's talk about it. Is race really race, or is it just somebody ignorant? Hello, if you see somebody running and you decide you want to shoot them, that's not ignorance. That's clearly racism. Somebody that's needs help. I mean, at the end of the day,
people who live in communities that are predominantly black are afraid to call the police when they see a crime because they're afraid that someone that themselves or a fellow community member may be killed. That's racism. And that is so. It is such a huge issue in the nation, in our nation today. Like they literally will not call the police because they are fearful for their lives and the lives of their community members. If a robbery is if they see a robbery in action, they will not call the police because they don't want someone to be murdered. That's horrifying.
That's a great point. Absolutely. So, man, we could go heavy into that one. I mean, because that is, this is something that we could sit up and talk about this for days because this is something that, we've been dealing with for years. Right? My whole life. Me and my brother was talking about this today as well. Remember, me and Brian we was talking about this too. And it's always been there. And it's time for us to stand up and work on erasing this thing. There's still whole states that are just, predominantly white or black and won't deal with the other race because of that. We have to
on the other side of those tracks.
We have to break that. At some point, we have to stand up and say, you know what? I don't have a reason to have an issue with this person. So I should step over there and at least get to know them.
Abolish the fear and overcome whatever untruths have been force fed into them. Because unfortunately, there is some parts of our country that are still very behind.
Yeah, way behind.
In their thinking.
Parts.
Yes. And that there's not a open-minded, open-hearted way of thinking. Like people are not. I guess the term woke for lack of a better term is kind of cliche, but it's the truth. Like people don't really understand in some parts of our nation that it's okay to have a conversation with someone without it being looked down upon.
Yeah.
It's just it all pays it's a real product for our environment. So old ways of thinking are passed down, and there's just areas that they have come into the now.
Yeah.
And been made aware that guess what, this is no longer something that's acceptable. And just because someone's skin is different color than yours doesn't mean they don't bleed red as well. Like
absolutely.
We're all beautiful, children of God, and it's not. There's nothing to be afraid of. There's nothing to look down upon. Like it's just, unfortunately, to me, it's just such a narrow, unfortunate way of thinking. It's ignorant, and I don't think there's a greater ignorance than racism.
Oh yeah, no question. No question. So we're going to continue on. I don't want to put our main focus on that because we could go all the way in when it comes to racism and police brutality, the whole nine. It's definitely an Do you want to read this?
Which one I'm reading?
Shout out to Obese Tiny Man. That's his name over on our YouTube. So for anybody out there that don't know, we do have YouTube. So make sure you guys, subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. We're broadcasting there as well. So just read.
Okay, so he says, I have a horrible work ethic. Sorry, I have to need glasses. The companies, they don't pay enough at the company, so it forces me to have to steal company property as much as possible.
Wow.
Woof.
Wow.
That's a big one.
That's a tough one, and I think I'm gonna touch on this one just first because I feel you, and I'm gonna be 100 when I say this. I was at a place where I was working for a company, and they didn't put in no money for us. They were, excuse me, guys, they were making all of this money and only giving us so much so that we could just survive. And I was like basically doing my part to stay afloat in this company. But then I got to a place where, you know what, you guys are going to continue to just give us this much. I think I may just go ahead and take this much. And so I was in that whole circle of things. Anytime I think about that, I think about one of my best jobs that I'll never forget about, where I met Marvin Patterson at Fred Meyer Warehouse. I worked at that place for 5.5 years. I made really good money. I was driving a forklift, stand-up forklift, a regular forklift, a banana picker. I drove them all and made really decent money doing this. But they still only gave us so much so that we could survive. They worked us to the bone, and then they wanted us to work some more. You know what I'm saying? It's like we work an 8-hour shift, and then they tell us we have 4 hours overtime, and then we have to be back at the same time the next day. And then it got so bad we worked until all of the orders were over, and who knows what time those was. Sometimes I always tell people about this, but there was one time I went to work at 2, got off at 6 in the morning, drove home, and fell asleep at the wheel and wrecked the car. Facts. You ask anybody. It happened when I was working at a Fred Meyer Warehouse. I fell asleep at the wheel driving home, and then I had to be back the next day. And so they were doing so much to work us to the bone. I started coming in late, and instead of me coming in late and filling out a late slip, I was filling out a slip and writing that I was on time. And this is when I was in my 20s. I was 21, 22 when I did this. But that's exactly what he's talking about, like stealing from the company because the company they weren't treating us the way that we wanted to be treated. And this wasn't something that I decided to do. I seen other people doing it. I mean, I would never point anybody else and say their names, but I had managers, people that were in charge of me doing the exact same thing. It was a learned behavior, and because I had got caught doing it, they decided to use me as an example and fire me because I had never been in trouble for nothing. I was always on time. Went to work early, like an hour early, and I did all the extra. I was that person. I was always on top, of my job. But then once I got into a position where I see, hey, these guys are doing it, well, I might as well do the same thing. I live 12 minutes from my house, or 12 minutes from my job, but I still was showing up 7 minutes late. And so, it's like, well, I'm late. I might as well just take a slip and write down I was on time. And it got up to me.
There.
I made a bad choice, and it bit me at the end of the day. And my union wasn't defending me because they said, well, they're going to use you as an example. There's not much we can do about it. It is what it is. And that's how it was. But at some point, you have to get to a place where if the job is that horrible for you and you see that you're not really moving anywhere, you guys aren't moving in the same wavelength, you may want to look and see what else is out there. maybe not even leave the spot you're at, but see if there's another job at the same location, another position that may be better for you. And that's a little bit of advice for obese tiny men. Thank you so much for your comment. Um, did you want to touch on it? I kind of went in a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
I went in a little bit on that one.
Well, I guess maybe a little bit, yeah. Just as you were talking, thinking about his comment. Unfortunately, like corporate America doesn't pay a living wage.
No.
I mean, we don't. There's in 2020 and 2021, a greater percentage of our country were making more money on unemployment, the extra stipend that they were getting, than they have ever made in their entire lives.
Yeah.
Like, people were making, so you can figure, just $800 a week. People were literally making double what they were making ever made in their whole lives. So that screams to corporate America, I guess, or companies in general, that it's not a living wage. Like, you can't. Walmart employees, they make just enough to not qualify for public assistance, but not enough to live. And it's not just Walmart. It's almost every corporate company, because the minimum wage is the baseline, and that's what they pay you. And asking for a raise is next to impossible. Your own daughter, Deanna, when she moved away to across the country, when she was just here visiting, she was telling me, man, it's crazy how much less money I make doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And the minimum wage there is like pennies on the dollar compared to here. I mean, where I live, it's $15 an hour.
Yeah.
So you're just here in Washington. So I mean, that's a decent wage. I mean, my son just got his first job, and he's like, I'm making $15 an hour. He's super crazy stoked,
Yeah.
And then I talked to Leanna, and her minimum wage, and then what she's making in tips is like absurdly low, way less. And the cost of living, yes, it's a little bit less, but it's not a whole lot less.
Yeah.
I mean, so yeah. I mean, it's difficult to survive if you don't have a degree, or if you're not grandfathered in, you don't know somebody. I mean, it's either about who you know, and to be able to get into the job, or get creative and do your own thing. But then even that, it's difficult to I mean, with the circle, this is we're pushing 3.5 years now, and it's been a difficult. We don't make money.
It's a challenge. It's a real challenge to try and continue on this route when all the money that you're putting in to create this platform and create these opportunities for not only ourselves, but for the people that are going to be a part of this, we're not reaping the benefits of it. And so it's a challenge, but at the same time, I look at the circle a little bit different, because it's what I want to do with my life, and regardless of the pay, I feel like the outcome of making someone feel better about their position is always going to put you over the edge, keep you. I mean, think about it. My car just got broken in. One of the clients at my job decided he wanted to bust the back of my car out. So I have no car window now. My car ain't even a year old. And for me, like, I could get mad, I could get upset, and I could go and say something to this client, but who am I to do something crazy like that? These people are here. They're at the place where I work for a reason. I mean, regardless of their disability or ability, they're there for a reason. Like, you can't get mad. As soon as you get mad, you're going to get fired, or you're going to go to jail. I mean, every day, I kid you not, I get harassed every day by this one particular person. He follows me around every day. If I don't pay him enough attention, doing this, kicking me, like, he's aggressive. But at the end of the day, I know this is the type of people that I work with. I work with a population of vulnerable adults that have disabilities. And so I know what to expect. Like, I work with lower functioning, I work with mid functioning, and I have a few higher functionings that I work with as well. But These people are here, and we're there for a job. We're there to teach them. We're there to teach them what they need to be successful in the community. And so that's what I do. Some days are harder than others, but I love my job and I love it. Period. So we have a Facebook user, not sure exactly who that is. I'm gonna go ahead and read their comment. It says, "Sad that so many that took unemployment just blew their money and now don't want to actually work." Ooh, girl, boy, I don't know what you are, but that is facts. That's one of the things that I hear all the time. People take the money and refuse to go back to work. And it's such a sad thing because there are so many jobs that are out there. Even if it's but like we were talking about, there's not really a lot of jobs that are going to support you to live. I mean, living on unemployment is not necessarily going to make sure that you
That's over now.
are going to be able to live.
They ended the pandemic unemployment, so people who were receiving that, most of them they can't continue to receive regular unemployment because they don't qualify for enough hours after that whole year of being on a pandemic unemployment. But again, it is disconcerting to go and apply for a job and it be not even a living wage. I mean, when you're thinking, okay, well, if I apply for this job and I'm making this, so and so amount of dollars an hour, and my rent, and my bills are this, and there's a cutoff where you're not even going to make your rent and your bills. Well, how are you feeding your kids because you don't qualify for public assistance anymore? You know what I mean? I'm not saying it's okay to be lazy by any stretch, but I guess strive higher. But it is difficult. It's a difficult, and there were a lot of people who took advantage of the system during that time. There's people who came out of the woodwork and they literally were inundated. They won 400,000 unemployment applications in one day, and they just kept pouring in. So there's clearly, there are a lot of people were taking advantage of the system, and it was previously put in because there was a lot of fraud that took place, and that's why a lot of people didn't get their employment, just all kinds of things. But it is an unfortunate misgiving and misuse of the funds that the government offered. But what can you expect of a whole nation of people who were quarantined in their homes and then fed a bunch of money and then Amazon decided they were just going to become like this champion of delivery and you know what I mean? Like you could just sit on your couch and do anything you wanted, and the government was also giving you the money to do it. It was crazy. It was almost, it was like a data test to see who was going to actually pay the bills and who wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. It's been rough. Man, system is definitely broke. Period.
Yeah.
That's what the kids. That's what the kids say nowadays. Period. My daughter says that to me all the time. Period. Dad. What's that say?
Lends more help to the unmotivated bypasses those who really need the help. True.
I think the problem with that is how do you know who's the ones that truly need it versus the ones that don't? And that's where the problem lies. There's so many people that are struggling nowadays, but there's those that choose to struggle and those that are struggling because they're struggling. Like I always think about when we talk about this, I think about when I was doing my internship at the rescue mission, Tacoma Rescue Mission. A lot of the people that go there, they feed and they house between 80 to 120 people a night, and I'm sure they feed more because they do lunch and then they do dinner. But there's a certain amount of people that are able to get a bed per night. During the cold season, they pull out these what are those things called? You pull out the cots, and they fill the hallways with cots so that no one has to sleep in what we're experiencing right now, which is a huge cold front, snow, just cold,
Right, just
the elements. And so when I think about when I was down there, I ran and had conversations with a lot of people. Once they started seeing me around more and more, it went from just saying, hey, I need this, and them saying thank you and moving to conversations. And I still remember having a conversation with a young woman and an older gentlemen. Both of them had jobs, but could not afford a place to live. And so to think that these people have actual jobs, but don't make enough money to find themselves an apartment or a place to call home is just crazy. But it's reality, though.
Because the wages here are actually pretty decent in Washington.
Yeah.
We have a pretty decent living wage. If the cost of living wasn't so outrageous, I mean, a gallon of milk is $4.
Yeah.
It's absurd. I paid for a tiny 2-bedroom apartment. I paid $1,500 a month. And it's not worth it.
Right.
It's not even close to worth it. But it's what there is, and it's in the area that I live in. It's one of the lesser, at least less expensive places to live. Like people that live in my same area, they find out I pay $1,500. Like, oh, you got the availability in your complex? I'm like, really? You don't
maybe you should come take a look before you decide.
Because I live in the cut. But I mean, it's the truth. I'm just like, I can make a decent wage, but this cost of living, I mean, it's absurd how much people want for rent, and it's gotten even worse. Like, I've been looking around, trying to find a different spot because I'm not pleased with where I'm at. Like 2-bedroom, 1 bath is $2,000.
Yeah, it's everything. It's just like, it's out of control.
I don't know who's renting these houses. Like, I want to work where they work.
People that have absolutely no other choice but to live in these places, and they got money. I mean, and that's hard to find. There's not a whole lot of those, unless they're young college students that get money from their parents and stuff like that. It's crazy.
The cost of living up in Seattle, I was just for giggles. I was looking up there, just like, look at the.
I don't even look up there.
Like,
ain't no way.
A 1-bedroom, like tiny 700 square foot flat, like $4,000.
Yeah,
what?
ain't no way.
I'm like, what are they doing up there? I want to know what they're doing up there for work. I need to find out.
No,
I'll live down here and make that wage.
Absolutely. So, just good questions, good comments, guys. You guys, I appreciate you all for chiming in. We had a pretty good run here. This has been an hour. Y'all know when we do Circle Talk, it usually is about an hour. We appreciate all of you guys for listening and being a part of this. This is our first one. Happy New Year to all of you. We do have a lineup of people that are scheduled for the next week's coming. So I'm gonna try and do this off top. Next week we are sitting with. I think we're sitting with Tamar Jackson next week. So shout out to my guy Tamar. I'm gonna take a look because I've been busy. I've been working, y'all.
But tomorrow is coming.
Tamar will be here. I just need to make sure that I got the right everybody in line here. Oh, dagnabbit, I am so sorry. DJ Don G is in the building next week. You guys have to be available for that one. He's one of the baddest DJs in Washington, in the Northwest. I've done a couple shows, and he DJ'd for me, and he knows exactly what he's doing. And if he's doing shows now, and he was doing shows when I was doing music, he's the real deal. He's the real deal. So next week will be with DJ Don G. January 17th will be with Tamar Jackson. Good friend. I went to high school with him. He's doing a lot of amazing things in the community, working for Workforce Central, and we're going to talk about everything that he's been up to these days. Oh, somebody just dropped a comment. Let me get through these two, and then we're going to go ahead and read this comment. After that, January 22nd, I'm going to be with my good friend Marquise Taylor, very intelligent guy. We're going to catch up. We used to work together. He decided he didn't want to work for the man anymore, and now he's working for himself. So we're going to catch up and see how he's been doing since he decided to do his own thing. And then we're going to end up the month. David, it's getting late. Get it together. Okay. We're going to end the month with Mr. Barry Crosby Jr., January 30th, and I'm really excited about that. If you guys haven't been checking out Shop Culture, it's a new thing. The new podcast live stream, kind of like this one, but a little bit different. They talk about the real life stuff, like, why do people cheat, and what is what is a good relationship versus just somebody you're just hanging out with for the time. What's real love versus fake love, etc., etc. They get all the way in on their conversation. So I'm going to be sitting with him January 30th, and we're going to talk about shop culture and where they're going leading into this year. It's an amazing thing to watch. I've been watching them every year, or every week. It's a great watch if you haven't checked it out. But that's January, and so we got some great guests. Please make sure you guys continue to watch us. We're going to read this comment real quick, and then we're going to call it a night. Go ahead.
Facebook user says, I've been in some low places. Two needed shelter, food stamps, etc. Life wasn't in my favor. Things I couldn't control, and some things I could.
Poor choices.
My poor choices. It's a battle, yet it was never a permanent place for me. Few jobs, no car, so on. You do what you have to do. Sorry, I'm blind. Maybe that's what draws me to help those people going through what I did. Nice.
Amen. 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 That sounds like somebody I may know. But absolutely, I've been there too. I've been there, and that's the one thing that has continued to carry me through, is knowing that I've been in that position. I've been through the struggles of not knowing where my next meal was going to be, where my next place was that I was going to be staying at. I lived under so many different people just to survive. So, yes, when I got to a place where I can have my own, I was like, you know what? I'm going to create something, and I'm going to help people any way that I possibly can. And that's what I do. If I'm not doing the circle, I'm at work doing the circle. If I'm not at work doing the circle, then I'm working.
He don't never put his computer
I'm working.
down.
But that's my life. That's what I think I was put on this earth to do. And so that's what I'm doing at all costs. I got to do it. I got to it, because if I don't, then who will? Somebody could be watching me, like my daughters, my son. They could be watching me. They could be seeing me out in these streets doing the complete opposite. But I chose to change my life and help people versus hurt people.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
That's what we're put on this earth for. Like so many people have forgotten what we're here for. We're spiritual beings having a human experience. That experience is supposed to be one that leaves a footprint on this world after we go. One that's massive. This screams and speaks volumes for who we were and what we helped. It has nothing to do with what we require as what we can help others acquire.
Yes, absolutely.
Through heart, and fellowship, and outreach, and just strength to create strength in others.
Yeah, absolutely. So, guys, great conversation today. Shout out again. We want to give a huge shout out to GSL and all of the people involved in it. Deshaun Willis, Mike Brown, Dion Lister, Brooklyn Bannister, PJ Hughes, and iShotTo.com, Marvin Patterson, my guy, Timothy Foster, Dr. John Gaines, all of you guys for putting on an amazing event yesterday. We are so excited that we had the opportunity to be a part of it. And we're hoping and praying that we can get out with you guys again. Next time you do it, please call us. We'll be ready. Yes, amazing. And when you know, you grow. Absolutely. And so, for the words of the day, this is a new one. I've never done that. I'm going to give it to you guys. I got my words for the day. This is kind of how I roll. I like quoting stuff. And I like creating stuff. So, I have one right here. And this is kind of what I started the year off with. I started the year off with some truth about myself. And the one thing that I wrote was, I need to work on my relationships. Whether they're emotional, physical, spiritual. I need to work on my relationships. What is something that you need to work on? I'm asking you that. If you want to comment in the comments, please do. But I'm going to leave you guys on that note. Thank you so much for being here. It's been an amazing show. We'll be back next week, and hopefully you guys will be too. So, on behalf of the circle, it's your boy DH, Aaron. We'll talk to you guys later. Peace. Holla. Just kidding.